Welcome to Benham's Grove, the City of Centerville's community gathering place, located at 166 North Main Street. Join me as we take a tour of this historic home and check out the gorgeous Christmas decorations. Hi, Randy.
Hi, Maureen.
Good to
Welcome.
see you.
Welcome to Benham's Grove. Come
Thank
in,
you.
come in.
Joining me now inside this historic home is Randy Bishop. Randy, thanks for being here.
Thank you for having me. It's
You've
good to
been
be
here at Benham's Grove for 13 years now, right?
It'll be 13 years in March.
And he is responsible for some of these gorgeous decorations that we'll talk to you about later. First though, Randy, give us some of the history of Benham's Grove, because for a lot of people, they've driven by, they know there's a house here, but they really don't know the great history behind it.
Right, exactly. Benham's Grove is a gathering place here for the city of Centerville. Its history dates back to the founding fathers of Centerville.
Yeah.
Aaron Nutt was the original landowner here, and pretty much a lot of downtown was a farm owned by the Nutt family. In the 1840s, they started auctioning off land here, and a merchant named Joseph Benham bought this little plot. It's about 10 acres, just a little under 10 acres. And the land actually sat empty for quite a while, and his son from his second marriage inherited the land and built the house here in 1885. And this was a farm, a functioning farm. They had chickens and they also had sheep.
And the home, the decorating part of it, or the building part of it, it's got great bones and really was rather simplistic for as a farmer's house.
Sure, exactly. This was a functioning farm. The house is a Victorian, but it's not an ornate Victorian because it was a functioning farm. A lot of the decor that you see here now, we actually put it in when we took over the property, when the city bought the property. So it was a Victorian home, but it was not ornate.
And the last family to live in the home was the Gerber family, hence the
Exactly.
name the Gerber House.
Right. The Gerbers lived here, and they lived here until about 1989. Mrs. Gerber sold the property to the city, and we took about 2 years to do the renovations and rehab the property, and we opened up in 1992 as the Dayton Show House, and then they cleared all the furniture out, and we became Benham's Grove.
Which is really amazing when you think this is now the 21st year of Benham's Grove,
Exactly.
and the just thousands of people who have been through these doors, who have celebrated so many of life's wonderful occasions. So we can hope to continue that for another 50 years.
Exactly.
Well, let's talk about the Christmas decorations, because Benham's Grove is open year-round for all kinds of events, but you do such a beautiful job.
We do a lot of holiday parties here, and we do keep the decorations very neutral. In the living room here, because of the color scheme, I keep it very simple. I do golds and ivories. We do provide the tree. We'll have the decorations up. All you have to do, we provide the tables and the chairs for you. All you need to do is bring in your tablecloths, your decorations, and you can set up and go for your party. So we will have your holiday party set and ready to go for you. That's why we keep it neutral, because we do a lot of holiday weddings here.
Well, let's talk too about this tree, because we're going to have Randy give us kind of double duty. You're going to talk about your decorations, but we're also going to get tips from you on how to decorate, because you have years and years of experience.
Maybe too long, maybe too long.
So do you come up with a theme like this, or what is your inspiration for design?
A lot of it is based on the surroundings. When I did the tree here, like I say, I keep it neutral. I start with your basic tree. You know, you can get a pre-lit tree. You don't have to do a pre-lit tree. I do like to light it myself. First thing you want to do when you do a tree is make sure that you fluff it. I see so many trees that are out there and people just pull the branches out and throw the decorations on, and it's twisted and contorted and it doesn't look good. So, I mean, there is work involved to do it.
And when you talk about lights, you really have to reach all the way in.
Exactly.
There's a trick to doing those lights,
Sure.
isn't there?
I usually start from the bottom and work my way up. Some people start at the top and work their way down, but it's kind of hard to see it now, but when you take the string of lights, you don't want to wrap the lights around the tree because you get that spider web effect. What you do is you actually start from the very center of the tree, pull your lights out, work it through the branch, and work it back and forth, in and out, so that when it crosses over, the crossover is clear back in the center and you don't have wires going across the perimeter of the tree.
Okay, that's my problem number one, I think. but that really, it does take time, but it's
It does
really
take
worth
time.
the effort,
It does
isn't
take
it?
time to do it. I mean, if you're going to do it, you want to do it right, and you don't want to see all your wires. Because
So you don't start and keep wrapping around, you
No.
just do one section at a time with lights.
I go all the way around the tree, but I go in and out.
Okay.
And I actually wrap, as you can see here, I've wrapped the wire through the branch and bring it back into the center.
So if it's an artificial tree, the lights go on first and then you fluff, or do you fluff first?
I always fluff first.
Always fluff first.
I always fluff it first, just so that I know that the tree is full and
Very
it looks
good.
good. There's no holes, because you don't want any holes in your tree.
Okay. And then you put on ornaments?
I start, just start.
Or do you
adding
do the
ornaments.
ribbon, or?
Yeah. with this tree here, and it's really good if you're using shiny ornaments, especially, and I've got these large ones down inside the tree. If you push your larger ornaments and your shiny ornaments towards the center, it reflects the light back out into the tree. So I always start with my large pieces. A lot of people like to put a focal point. You could put a violin, you could put a children's toy, depending on what your theme is, but you want to push your larger pieces back towards the center, and you want to work your ornaments larger to smaller. You want the smaller ones towards the edge and your larger ones pushed back behind it. That way you do see them all.
Okay, and I see you really have a theme going here with the entrance and then the mantle and the tree. Is this something that you kind of envisioned, that you wanted to incorporate these different pieces, or did you start with one and then do something?
I like to keep it very cohesive. So I've got the same decor in the mantle here as I do in the tree. So I work it in with this. This is a mesh ribbon here. Your ribbons usually go on last. Some people put them on, depending on what you're doing, you could put them on first if you wanted to, and then work your ornaments around it. But I usually like to do it at the very end.
Well, let's take a look at the mantle too, because I see you have some different elements here, some pine cones and...
Exactly. I did some pine cones in this thing. I also worked in some magnolia blossoms. You can add florals into your things or not. And then I also used the same ivory ornament that I used in the tree to tie these all together. Plus I also used the same ribbon.
And Randy, with a lot of these decorations, you can change them up every year, but still, I mean, they can look different.
Sure. I mean, if I wanted to, I could switch this to all gold, and it would give it a totally different look. Take the ivory out. I could take the ribbon out, and it would be totally green. So, I mean, there's just little things you can change in and out or add each year.
And when you come in, or when you have a party here, because not only is Benham's Grove available for rentals, for private rentals, but we also host several community events throughout the year as well.
Yes.
But if you are lucky enough to come to the tree lighting ceremony, every year you'll be able to come in and see the decorations and also take your family Christmas picture. Which
Exactly.
is really nice
We do every year at tree lighting, and it's always the Sunday before Thanksgiving.
Right.
Families come in, and the house is always open for tree lighting, so the guests can walk through the house and tour the house, and there will always be lots and lots of people standing in front of the fireplace or standing in front of the Christmas tree doing their Christmas photos.
Well, I want to get folks over to the steps, because I think when we talk about the wow factor first coming in, this is really going to get you. So let's head over this way. So Randy, this is the lovely banister. And again, when we talk about the wow factor, when you come in the door, this is the first thing that you see.
Thank you. Like I said, this is also tied into the same decor that we have in the living room. I use the same gold mesh. I use the the ivory ornaments, added some pine cones to it, and gives it something to see when you first walk in the entryway.
And it is ornate, but for those who may want to do something not as fancy, really, this is just the greenery that...
This is just and I can pull this out, this is just a basic garland. So if you don't want it to be quite, I mean, you can, if you want to go with the natural green of the garland, see, I mean, it's still just as lovely. You'll have to fluff it up a little more. But if you don't, I mean, there's so many different things you can do.
But I didn't even realize how you just had those stuck right in there.
This is literally just a piece of the mesh ribbon, and I just kind of pull it down like a little pocket square and then just insert it. It gives a little bit of fullness to it.
And as you're doing decorations, I know you usually suggest people just try things out, don't be so planned.
Exactly. I mean, you'll have a general idea of what you're doing, but, as you're working on it, if it's not turning out the way you like it, just yank it out and redo it. I mean, it's just your personal, your personal satisfaction and your personal preference on what it is you want to do. So, you can make it as ornate, you can make it as simple as you want. Simple is great, less is more. But this, we just wanted to have something to pop when you walked in the front door.
That's really an overall theme of Benham's Grove, though. You can go as simple as you want with a party, or you can go as elegant, as you want to, which is one of the nice things, because as you mentioned before, we really here provide the place and tables and chairs, but
those come with your rental.
The renters can decide if they want to go with really fancy table decorations or something more simple.
And in the summertime, when we're doing outdoor events and the weddings, you want to take advantage of the natural beauty of where you're at. I mean, some people do get really carried away, but this is a park-like setting, so you want to take advantage of the natural beauty and the natural foliage. And in the summertime, we have pots filled with flowers, and we've got the fountains and the gardens and everything. So you've got that backdrop.
And it is lovely. I want to take a look now at the dining room because I think you've done some really spectacular things there with that centerpiece.
All right.
Now we're in the dining room. And Randy, what's the theme going on here?
The dining room theme is based on the wall color in here. We changed the wall color. It used to be wallpaper in here, and we took the wallpaper out. So we are doing a lot of rusts and golds and metallic colors in here. Still want to keep it somewhat neutral.
Yeah, and very natural looking.
Exactly. This table is set up for a special occasion, so the tables are not like set like this all the time. But I just wanted to show what a set table would look like. This is a rather large centerpiece, but it is actually just for show for the holidays.
And for folks who are lucky enough to see you on Let's Talk Centerville, you put a centerpiece like this together, and you literally whip that together in maybe 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Now, I know it takes more time and care, but really, I mean, this is something that you just put different pieces in.
Sure, exactly. This is just a variety of evergreens, and then I added some poinsettia blooms to it. You can do it with or without floral if you want to. And on the show when we did it, I added a little more bling, but I left the bling out in here because this is a little more subtle.
Yeah.
So.
And then we also have this beautiful swag that we'll show you, but is this something that you made?
It's a basic garland underneath, and it's just layering on the pieces.
That is absolutely stunning, and you still have the same fabric that you had then.
Right, I just worked it in, and that is a copper colored mesh ribbon that I used, and those are copper colored leaves and poinsettia blooms, and then I did a variety of metallic ornaments on there. There's coppers and golds and browns, and it all works with the paint color and the decor and the rug in the room.
Another wow factor when you come in this room. Now we'll take a look at the morning room, which has a little bit more color.
Yeah, exactly.
Here we are in the morning room, and Randy, you've really incorporated your colors here to go along with the wallpaper.
Exactly. The blue and white wallpaper, the birds, we love this room.
Yeah, I do too.
This was the morning room, and this is probably where Mrs. Benham would have her tea in the morning, as like all the ladies did in that era. This room in here is used for events. A lot of times they'll use it as the gift area. We can actually seat 10 people in this room with a larger table.
And just as a reminder, if you were to come in for an event, you're not going to see it decorated like this, but
No.
as you said, people will have it decorated or use it however they see fit.
Now you will see the blue tablecloth. These were custom made to match the window treatments, but yeah, this is all just here for the event.
And again, another decorating tip is you've incorporated the same material.
Right, I'm trying to keep it consistent throughout the home. I incorporated the mesh ribbon in here again this year, and then I just worked off of the blue and the white wallpaper in here and worked with the tablecloth colors. There's a little gold in here also, but I did mostly blue and white and silver, and did a lot of silver in here.
And a beautiful tip, which is really easy, is you've just used silver ornaments and
I mean,
blue ornaments.
there's all kinds of things laying around your house that you can use for the holidays. I mean, just even something as simple as a bowl of Granny Smith apples, or at the holidays, nuts and oranges and things like that evoke the holidays. Cinnamon, cinnamon sticks, things that you have around that you can incorporate into the holidays and mix it with some fresh greenery, and there you've got some holiday.
Before you get rid of that box of ornaments, take one final look to make sure that you can't use it as some kind of centerpiece, I guess, right?
You'd be amazed at what you can find that will
Yeah.
work.
Yeah, and you really incorporate all of it, again, as simple or as elegant as you want to be. Next up, I want to take a look at the enclosed porch area because that's always a fun place to see.
The north porch.
If you have a very small space, this is a great idea.
Exactly.
Very thin tree.
A pencil tree in here. The north porch here is the enclosed porch. It does have the original floors and the stone floors that we have in here. I keep this room as natural as possible. I use, with the garland up here on the wall, I incorporate the dried hydrangea blooms that I actually cut from outside from the summertime.
So how do you store those, or what's the process so that they look that full after?
Well, you have to carefully, once you cut the blooms, you want to lay them out flat and let them dry. And so you have to have some place where they can be undisturbed. Put them into a basement or into an attic or something where they won't be disturbed, and they can lay out flat and dry totally.
And then again, you have a similar theme going on here
Sure.
with this tree.
Exactly. This tree is done in coppers and golds, and there is a little bit of pewter into it. I incorporated some metal horns into this tree, and then this is just a natural garland. It's willow branch, and there is some ivy into it.
And talking about the history of the building, one of the neat things too is we have the cellar door that's right out here, which I believe is probably
The original cellar, the
Yeah.
basement is actually stone, and there are trenches dug in the floors before they had drains. It's the actual original stone cellar.
Well, let's take a look at the kitchen because that's really where the heart of a lot of parties are,
Sure.
and many times at Benham's Grove as well.
It does.
This is a good time too, Randy, to talk about catering here because you can bring in any caterer that you'd like when you rent Benham's Grove.
Exactly. We have no restrictions on vendors here at Benham's Grove, so you can bring in any caterer you like, or you can do the food yourself.
And for the most part, caterers bring the food already prepared.
Right. We do have stove refrigerators, microwaves, but they are basically for reheating. It's not a commercial kitchen. It is a home kitchen. So most of the food is expected to be prepared ahead of time, and they can rewarm in our ovens, et cetera, here.
And it's a very nice size, so caterers have
Yeah, it's a
plenty
large
of
kitchen.
room
It's a
to
very
work
large
out
kitchen.
of.
There's a lot of counter space in here to work off of. It's been one of our big selling features. All the vendors love coming here because they've got a lot of room to work.
And you're using it now as kind of a workstation to get some of these things ready. So
Exactly.
you're going to show us how to.
We're moving through the house here, and now you're catching me where I'm not done yet. So I'm still working. I have some of the major pieces up above, and then this is just a basic group of shelves back here that I just keep decorative pieces in, and then basically right now I'm just going to switch it out and put some holiday into it. I mean, the kitchen, as you say, is usually where the heart of the party is. If they're doing their own food, most of the guests end up standing just like we are, leaning against the counter, talking, having a drink, and enjoying the holidays or doing whatever. But so basically what I do here is I just take some pieces of greenery. I've got different sizes and different cuts, and I can just pull out things that don't work for the holidays. Some of the pieces are actually fine to stay. I mean, generalized pieces look great. I've pulled out some of the other greenery that looked a little more summery in here, and we can just add different pieces into it. I mean, add it.
Right, and something as simple then as a cookie jar and cookie tin.
What you have, things that you have around your house that you can make Christmas. I mean, you can take any basket you have, fill it with Christmas ornaments, take a basket, fill it with pine cones, it becomes holiday. And use unique pieces. I mean, you've got a cake pedestal here. Flip this thing upside down, fill it with ornaments, and it becomes holiday.
How about that?
Yeah. So it's just a matter of using what you want to use. You pop a little greenery back in here with it, and throw an ornament or two into here with it, and we'll just start filling up the shelves and turning it into the holidays.
And don't be afraid to rearrange or
exactly.
redo something.
Sure. Do what you want to use. I mean, there's just so many different things. You've got pieces that work. You've got your teapots. You've got the old coffee mill, antique canister sets. I mean, it's just what's here.
And then this greenery up here, you started with just green and have added.
That's just a basic green garland. Put some lighting into it, and then start adding some color into it. And I choose a red theme. I don't really use red or green, traditional Christmas colors throughout the house because of the color scheme and the paint colors in here. So in the kitchen, I'm like, okay, I want to put a little bit of tradition back in, so let's throw some red into the kitchen.
And as you said, if you were to have an event here, you really can leave everything to your caterer, and we're going to have tables and chairs set up for you, so it's
You provide the table and
pretty
chair.
stress-free. I mean,
It is
anytime you have a
stress-free.
party, there's a little bit of anxiety, but for the most part, your setup is ready. You don't have to do a lot of cleanup. You can come in, have your party, and away you go.
Exactly. You do a setup with us prior to your event. So we have a floor plan drawn up. We know exactly where your tables and chairs are going to be. We know where your food's going to be. We know if you're going to have a bar, we know where the bar is going to be set. Everything will be in place when you arrive. You just throw on your tablecloth and put them, if you want to add some decorations, and go from there. But it's pretty stress-free here.
Now, a couple of things. One is a lot of folks will plan an event from a far distance.
Sure.
And they can do that via phone, email, and then the website is a really great place to go to get some decorating ideas.
Exactly. I mean, and you can go to our Facebook page and you can see photographs. Clients have sent us photographs of their events, of their weddings or their parties. And you get a great idea of what people have done here before, and you can get a great idea of, oh wow, look how cool the barn looks. This is what they did in the barn, or this is what they did out under the tent area, or what they did in the living room or the back patio. Gives you a great idea of places to start for what you want to do.
And when you come in, the event staff too is going to really walk you through and give you some ideas as well. We know that it works to put tables here and chairs.
We know what works and what doesn't work.
Yeah.
Basically, so we can help you out. And if you're planning your event, you call us and say, hey, we were thinking about doing this. Are we allowed to do this? Or do you think it'll work? And after many, many years of having the events here, we know, what, that probably won't work out so well. You might want to try this instead. Or, there may be a couple things that, with the rules and the regulations, you can't have fireworks here. So it's like, no, you can't really do that, but
No fireworks.
no fireworks, please.
So one of the new additions this year has been the tent over the plaza.
Exactly. We had the South Plaza. It was installed just a couple of years ago. It's a brick paver. It's lovely. We are now doing the tent ourselves. You rent the tent through us here at Benham's Grove. It's a 40 by 80 foot tent. We have the lights and the sides. It's an additional purchase to your rental, but it does save you a considerable amount, almost 50% of the cost of having to rent it yourself.
And you can seat 200?
We can seat 200 guests under the tent and still have room to have a dance floor. And if you would like to do your food out there, you can, but it is enough to accommodate 200 guests.
That's one of the other great things about Benham's Grove, Randy, is that there's so much flexibility. You could do part of your party at the plaza. You can move over to the barn. You can use the cottage for something. I mean, there's just so much flexibility here.
Depending on the size of your event, what you want to rent, if you do have more than 120 guests, you are required to rent the entire complex out. A lot of people do everything under the tent. But there are other guests who like to do, we're going to have dinner and everything over at the tent, and then they're going to move the dancing over into the barn area. And that way the guests who maybe don't, grandma may not want the music kind of blasting in her ear, she can still sit out under the tent area and have a conversation with her friends or family and still enjoy herself. And then the guests can also be over in the tent area or over in the barn area and enjoy the dancing.
And really, it's as much hand-holding as the client might need, because if somebody has never been planning a wedding or never gone through these steps, you all will show them what they need to do and really provide a lot of resource information.
Sure, we have vendor lists. We have a lot of out-of-town people that come in here and they have no clue who to call. So we do have vendor lists available that we can put them in touch with caterers and photographers and bakeries and just about any kind of a vendor you would need. We have resources available for them. Like you say, we will hold your hand as much as possible. We are not your wedding planner,
Right.
But we will guide you through and help you through whatever you need.
And direct someone if they wanted to go that route to have a wedding planner, we can help that as well.
We have vendors that are available. We can say, hey, you know what, if you're looking for a wedding planner, we have a list of people here that you can give a call to.
And a good place to go for basic information would be the website, benhamsgrove.com. And also, as Randy mentioned, the Facebook page.
Exactly, our Facebook page.
Because there's a lot of really great pictures, and you kind of start to get an idea of, oh yeah, that is what I want, or I want something just like that.
Hey, they did a Hawaiian theme, or they did this kind of a theme, and look how great that looked, and it worked outside, or...
And again, with your rental, you can bring in any vendors, any caterers.
Exactly, we have no restrictions on vendors here at Benham's Grove.
So that's really helpful, but you will have someone from the Benham's Grove staff here throughout your event.
There will be an event manager on duty with you from the very beginning to the very end.
Well, let's take a look now at your other work site where you're really kind of putting some final touches on back in the East Meeting Room.
All right.
So this is our final stop. This is the East Meeting Room, and you're just putting some beginning touches in this room.
Sure. This room here is going to be another one of the natural looking rooms. This year I'm using a flocked garland. Flocked garland has the actual fake snow on it. It's beautiful.
So it comes with it. You don't have to use that spray stuff.
Well, you can.
Oh,
you could take a regular garland or a regular tree and flock it yourself, or you can have it professionally flocked. There are companies that will do it for you. This garland was purchased with the flocking on it. Flocking is beautiful, but it is very, very messy.
As I can tell, right.
It's already all over my red sweater here.
So do you, once you've used this, Randy, if we're going to use it again next year, do we have to respray?
No, actually, if you pack this up carefully, this is actually, I've used this for 2 years now. So if you pack it carefully, I mean, this stuff is sprayed on pretty, it's almost like glue on there. So it's on there pretty tight, but it does still shed quite a bit.
That seems to be a theme when you talk about packing your ornaments and your decorations. Really take the care and the time to do it right.
Especially your lights. It's a great idea when you're packing up lights, as we've learned over the years, to get the lights to last, you want to wrap them. You could take your outdoor lights or your indoor lights. You can take something as simple as a piece of cardboard and wrap them tightly around to keep. If you wad them up and throw them into a box, chances are you're going to break a bulb, you're going to mess up a connection, a wire is going to come loose, and you're going to toss them in the trash can the following year.
So take the same care that you have done putting your decorations up and taking them down and packing them away.
As you do packing them and labeling things so that you know where they go. Every box I have tells me what room it's going in and what it is.
Okay, and so show us what you're going to do here, because you've got some enormous pine cones.
Exactly. This is just your basic, like I said, it's your basic flocked garland. And then these are just some large pine cones that I've purchased through a craft store. I've wired them. And then I've got one wired in the center here. And then I'm just going to go where my connection is here in the wall. And I am just going to wire it on there.
And if you decide next year that you don't want to go with pine cones in here, you can always use it in a different room or something else, right?
And then just fluff your garland back up around it so you don't see where the wires are and the connection is.
I think one of the great things too about the way you decorated, you do repurpose and change things up. Yeah.
I repurpose a lot around here. It's like I try to get as much wear and use out of everything I have. These are just some simple, I found these, I got a good deal on these at a craft store. These are just little willow bird's nests.
And you wouldn't typically think about this as a Christmas decoration, but it really fits in with this natural theme.
Exactly. Yeah. And birds, these are actual Christmas ornaments.
Oh.
I mean, so this is what they were. They were little Christmas ornaments, but they're little bird's nests. And then I'm just going to do a variety. I'm just going to put them in. You just get them hooked into your garland. And then I'm just going to work my way up the garland.
So Randy, if I'm looking for a date next year, Saturdays are going very quickly.
Saturdays are pretty shot. We have had a couple of cancellations. And I'm going to say, as of right now, Saturday, May the 31st canceled. And I had another cancellation, and I believe it was in September, but I can't be positive.
But one of the great things about this place too is that you can do a wedding on a Thursday night for, it's a lot more economical for your budget.
Right, we have weekday rates and we have weekend rates. Monday through Thursday is considered a weekday rate. It's pretty close to being about half of the cost that it is on the weekend. Friday, Saturday, and Sunday are weekend rates, and then there are holiday rates too.
And don't be afraid to do a wedding on a Sunday
Sure.
or, as we said, a Thursday, Wednesday evening, something
We
like
have
that.
a wedding every Sunday in the summertime. We are usually booked Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. People love it. But in the last few years, we've had quite a few people that have decided to do their event on a Thursday or a Wednesday or whatever. It all depends on your budget. Budgets are a key integral part of your event. So what works best with your budget, we can help you work with that here too.
That's probably another good tip is determine your budget. I mean, get your bride or your groom first.
Sure.
and then you determine what your budget is. But you really do need to give yourself plenty of planning time.
And once you come up with a budget, you want to stick to that budget as much as you can. As you're working through your planning, you can rob Peter to pay Paul. Decide what is important to you.
And we've spent some time focusing on weddings, but of course you can use Benham's Grove for anniversary parties, any kind of family gatherings,
Right,
business meetings.
Graduation parties.
Yeah.
We have lots of graduation parties every year. We do a lot of corporate business during the week. We have some smaller spaces available, the cottage. We have a lot of companies that come in and they like to do an off-site managers meeting or a team building event. We can seat 24 people in the cottage.
Lots of flexibility, and anything that maybe you wouldn't want to necessarily have in your home or get your home ready, everything is already ready right here at Benham's Grove.
So we have the parking for it, and we have the tables and chairs for it. So
we definitely have the natural, gorgeous
and
surroundings
we
as
have
well.
the natural surroundings for it here.
Well, I'll let you finish up with that and tell us. So this is another.
This is just another one of the little birdhouse ornaments here, and we're just going to work it up the garland here. And you can add a variety of different things. I keep this one very simple.
Well, Randy, thank you so much for sharing your talents with us.
It's been my pleasure to be here today.
Yeah, and we hope that folks will come by again. If you want to come by during the holiday season, you can see the decorations, but you can always call 433-1913, make an appointment, come. You'll meet Randy or someone else will give you a tour and really give you some ideas of how to make your event very special. For more information, you can also go to benhamsgrove.com or the Facebook page. That's going to do it for this show. Thanks for watching.